everybody, to Tango Talks, and this is episode 20. And tonight we are going to talk about our infamous historic Route 20. We're titling this "Haunted by the Highway: True Tales from Route 20." I don't know if how many of you know, but Route 20 is one of the longest roads in the United States. It stretches over 3,300 miles from Boston, Massachusetts to Newport, Oregon. That's a lot of road. And of course, when you've got that much road, then of course you're going to have some stories with that. And we have some good stories that we've found along the way. So we're going to go from one stop to the next, and we're going to see how these stories play out.
Just a note before we get to the episode. Remember, if we put a smile on your face, do us a special favor by subscribing to us at tangotalks.podbean.com or tangotalks.live. Call in, ask us questions, and discuss topics at 315-801-9655. In each episode, we will try to make you laugh and think with guests, cocktails, and Capone the Pug.
Capone's always got to get his little point on there, you know. And again, people, that's Tango Talks, TangoTalks.podbean.com. That's probably the best place to go and subscribe and follow us. And remember, it's free to subscribe, it's free to follow us, and we certainly would appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's what puts us on the charts too, is like actually doing all of those things. It's one thing to listen, but and we know we have a lot of people out there that are listening for every episode, but they're not subscribing. So
right.
You want to subscribe or follow in order for us to keep moving up the ranks.
Yes, that's how other people find us, is by you people following and subscribing. Yep. It's not to say we don't appreciate getting the likes and the love, but sadly, they don't get recorded. They're not part of the statistics. So we really need those follows and subscribes. And again, it's free. We certainly would appreciate it. And we're just trying to have some fun here and
include you on the phone. I mean, everybody's
we would love people to call on.
Yeah.
All right. So our first stop is in Newport, Oregon, where, from our point of view, is the end of the road. The ghost of Highway 20, real cases tied to a gentleman by the name of John Arthur Ackroyd, who was a highway mechanic, and he was linked to multiple murders and disappearances. One of the couple of the victims included Kay Turner, Rashonda Pickle, and several others. He used to travel the road. He had a repair shop, and he would find these people, and of course he would stop, pick them up, and as it turns out, they were never heard from again. He left behind quite a trail of unanswered questions and disappearances. He was a creepy person, so I don't know what else to say about this guy. I mean, I'm paranoid enough as it is. I rarely stop by the side of the road. The last time we did anything like that was years ago, and it was a creepy situation for us back then. But to play somebody that you are looking for help from, and you want to trust these people that show up with the tow trucks and to help out, and you think you're going to get to a safe place, and before you know it, you're somewhere else that you certainly didn't want to be from. Our next stop is in Erie, Pennsylvania. Now, this one I thought was interesting. Happens to be that this was a a Reverend Beckley, and people say that they call it the vampire grave in Erie Cemetery. It's rumored to belong to a vampire. So, I don't know about. I don't know how much truth could be in that. There's always been tales about vampires and stuff like that, and I don't know. That a vampire reverend. I don't know how much truth could be in that one, but these are all true tales that have tales, rumors, stories, that are found along Route 20. Maybe one of these years it'd be an interesting thing to maybe do a Halloween trip. I think the last time I read about doing something like this, I think it takes 2 weeks to go from one side. If you were to stop, at all these different places, it takes like 2 weeks to get from one end of Route 20 to the other end of Route 20 without driving, nonstop. Obviously you could do that pretty quickly, but, but anyways, people, I think that would be an interesting trip, actually, if you had the time to do it, and if you could do it around the beginning of October, and then, stop at all these earmarked so-called hauntings and eerie places. It could be quite interesting, at least for me anyways. But, I'm a big Halloween fan, so, take that how you want to take it. The people who visit this cemetery, the vampire grave, they report cold spots and flickering lights and the feeling of being watched. So, you could, I'm sure there's some more local lore that goes along with that, and legends and stuff like this persist even when the facts fade. So who knows how this reverend got that rumor of being a vampire? Maybe he was an occult reverend. Who knows? Anything's possible with people nowadays. So let's see. Just a little reminder here. I just want to thank everybody for joining me tonight as we explore the tales of Route 20. And just a reminder, help us out and subscribe or follow, and please share our little podcast with all your friends. You can find all of our podcasts now on hmprintdesign.com. You can join the live shows there. You can sponsor us on Patreon, which we would really love. But have some fun. Join in on the live shows. We have call-ins and messages now, so we'll give you a nice little shout out on that. So let's get back to our next little haunted highway on Route 20. This stop is in Justice, Illinois. And I'm just going to make a little note here. This is probably going to be a short episode. I am by myself tonight. I'm sure you are missing the lovely laughter of my darling co-host, Angela. She's not feeling too well today, so trying to do this by myself. But so our next stop, number 3, is in Justice, Illinois, and this is the Phantom Hitchhiker. I think that lore it's almost like in our last episode. The women in the lady in white. I think these hitchhiker stories probably prevail on pretty much most busy highways and throughways across America, and probably in other countries too. But in fact, the Phantom Hitchhiker reports picking up a woman in white who vanishes before reaching her destination. Similar to Resurrection Mary, but tied to Route 20. If anybody wants to fill me in on who Resurrection Mary is, I would appreciate that. But these sightings go back all the way to 1950s, so that's quite a few years of people reporting seeing a phantom hitchhiker. I don't know if I would. After reading some of these stories and with my overactive imagination, I don't think I would pick up anybody dressed in white on a on a side road. Let's see. So, again, these roadside apparitions, you have to ask, like, why they endure and why they're so famous and why they live on. And, it's one of those things, I wonder, do people just carry these stories on from generation to generation? Is there truth behind them? They say that, most myths and fairy tales have some basis in truth. So who knows? Maybe there's some truth in, these women in white and, phantom hitchhikers. Let's see. Our next stop is stop number 4, and that's in Casper, Wyoming. This one, it's a case of lost time. In 1981, a couple lost 2 hours of time while driving. Their watches stopped, and their car had moved 30 miles. I do that every day driving to work. I don't even remember how I even get there sometimes, but they were put on polygraph tests, and to everybody's disbelief, they passed them, and no explanation ever found. But it's straight out of X-Files, you know what I mean, or some kind of alien abduction. Who knows? I think we just, as science pushes further and further, who knows what we're pushing into and what doors we're opening up. So it could be an alien abduction, time slip, or just a psychological anomaly. Who knows? Maybe they just highway hypnosis or something. I want to, I'm just asking, what stories do your roads hold? Do they do you have a road that's haunted around you, or know of a place? I think I mentioned last time there's a local place here. It's Star Hill, and it's supposed to be a haunted place there. But do you have something there? That where you live, that's people tell stories about. Do you have a woman in white, or a section of town that people lose time in? There's certainly, I think, people's imaginations this time of year, especially as we get closer to Halloween. I think their imaginations maybe drift a little far, but who knows? I believe in some of the paranormal stuff myself, but just remember, roads don't just connect places; they collect stories. And Route 20, it remembers everything. Just a note that this week's show is sponsored by HM Print and Design, your one source for everything creative: carved signs, printing, custom decor, and handcrafted gifts. I'm going to take a quick look here and answer some questions on our online. And let's see if we got anybody here. Nope, doesn't look like. Looks like we're good. Again, I apologize. It was a short episode. But, there's certainly a lot of stuff that happens on Route 20. I'm sure on other long, winding roads, sometimes these roads collect stories, some told and some are buried. And, that's all for tonight, everybody. Again, sorry it's a short episode. And until next time, Skull.